Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Argentine Senate on Thursday rejected President Javier Milei's decree of necessity and urgency, DNU, or 7023, with 40 votes against, 25 in favor, and 4 abstentions. According to the television channel C5N, this is the first DNU not approved by the upper house of Congress, and the decision took place less than 100 days after the inauguration of the administration of La Libertad Avanza. It also occurred shortly after the fall of what is known as the Omnibus Bill Law, a package of regulations that declared a period of emergency and the delegation of legislative powers to the executive, among other aspects. The 7023 seeks to modify or eliminate more than 300 norms and has been enforced since last December. It also tries to dismantle key laws related to rent, supply, land, industrial, and commercial promotion. In Colombia, the indigenous Minga and rural movements mobilized in support of Gustavo Petro's government's proposals for peace and social justice. The activities include the participation of farming communities that will discuss the proposals of the social programs promoted by Petro and the needs regarding peace and human rights. Several caravans are heading to the department of Valle del Cauca to perform a ritual and greet the Mingay, which is the collective work done for the benefit of the community, and talk with the High Commissioner of Peace and the Ministries of Defense and Interior. These mobilizations are intended to support the proposals presented by the national government over the last few years, with a special focus on labor, pension and health reforms, which have been debated but have not yet reached a successful conclusion.
We have already met with the representatives of the indigenous Minga, where we have already established strategies that simply allowed us to guarantee security in Cali, to guarantee the public and peaceful demonstration, hoping that no event that affects security in our city will occur.
The United Nations plans to set up an air bridge between Haiti and Dominican Republic to get more aid into the crisis-racked Caribbean island and to transfer its personnel. The United Nations mission in Haiti said that airbridge will ensure a seamless delivery of humanitarian aid and support services to Haiti and facilitated the movements of its personnel in and out of the country. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, more than 400 incidents hampering aid access have been recorded across the country since the start of 2024, including more than 70 in the first week of March. In Haiti, the situation of violence worsens after citizens demonstrated against the convening of a presidential council following the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. More on this in the following report.
On Monday, Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry resigned in a context characterized by the control of criminal gangs in 80% of the country, which have communicated that they will not accept any decision taken abroad. For their part, Haitian parties and movements should complete the formalities for the installation of a provisional governing council. The announcement was made on Monday at a high-level meeting convened in Jamaica by the Caribbean community CARICOM, although the Haitian State Department has affirmed that the body will be ready on Thursday. All this had led activists to hold protests in rejection of the Presidential Council that will take power in the Caribbean nation and any type of international intervention, as they claim that is Haiti who must solve its own problems. In this sense, the protests took place in front of the Canadian Embassy in Port-au-Prince, because Canada is one of the key countries in Haitian politics, along with France and the United States, which participated in the extraordinary meeting of the Caribbean community that established the 9-member council. Protests are taking place despite a ban of demonstrations and the imposition of a curfew throughout the Western Department, which will remain in place until April 7. For his part, the foreign intervention approved by the United Nations is a standstill, since Kenya, the country leading it, announced that it will postpone the mission until a new constitutional authority is established.
The member states of the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America People's Trade Treaty, ALBA TCP, expressed their concern about the situation in the Republic of Haiti. The statement was made through a communiqué where it expressed that its complex situation requires immediate international attention and assistance to this population, whose welfare and development are the main reasons for any action to be taken in Haiti today. On the other hand, the regional bloc said interventionism has historically represented a major failure for the development of the economic and social welfare of the Haitian people, thus urging not to repeat the past mistakes, considering the serious history of foreign interventions that have caused so much structural damage to the integrity of that nation. The Bolivarian Alliance also reaffirmed that it is through mechanisms of effective cooperation and solidarity, the respect for sovereignty and self-determination of peoples, international law, and the warranty of fundamental rights of the Haitian people that will be the way to help this sister republic overcome the difficult situation it is going through. The statement ends by reiterating its support for the sovereignty, independence, revolutionary history and self-determination of the Haitian people, so that through the international cooperation and solidarity and commitment to the proclamation of the Latin American, the Caribbean as a zone of peace, our Haitian brothers and sisters can recover the peace, the dignity and the well-being they deserve. In Chile, the authorities reported that the fires that broke out in the Cordillera and Alegre Hills in the Valparaiso region are under control, and so far there are no reports of death or injuries caused by these fires. During the promulgation of the private security law, President Gabriel Boric said that according to the preliminary balance, damage to 20 houses has been confirmed, although work continues in the affected area and the figures could increase. The flames started in a forest area but quickly spread to inhabited areas, so that the National Service of Prevention and Response to Disasters decreed a red alert in the commune and ordered the evacuation of 8 sectors. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Humanitarian aid trucks arrived in Palestine after being inspected by the Israeli occupation at the Kerem Shalom crossing near the border with Egypt. The trucks were inspected by the Department of Coordination of Governmental Activities of Israel before entering the Gaza Strip, where the population was waiting for its distribution. The aid is intended to mitigate the effects of the shortage of food and medical supplies. On the other hand, a new shipment arrived from Cyprus through the Humanitarian Maritime Corridor. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of Palestine denounced the inaction of the international community to the situation suffered by the population of the Gaza Strip caused by the aggression of Israel. Palestine affirms that after 5 months of Israeli attacks against the Palestinian territory, Tel Aviv is fulfilling its purpose under the indifferent gaze of the international community and its organizations, adding that they do not go beyond the talks and debates which is used by Israel to perpetrate its extermination plan. Likewise, Palestinian representatives stated that after the intensification of the Israeli siege on Gaza, neither the United Nations or the international organizations are able to guarantee the protection of the civilians and the respect for On Tuesday, Israeli demonstrations blocked a highway in Tel Aviv, demanding the immediate release of the 130 hostages held in Gaza since October 7th. In this way, demonstrators reiterated their call on the Benjamin Netanyahu administration to take action to secure the release of the hostages. In the meantime, protesters called for an effort to be made to negotiate for 19 women who are still being held captive. Precisely on November, during a one-week truce, 105 Israeli civilians were released after negotiations between Hamas and Israel. On the other hand, it should be emphasized that the Israeli Prime Minister faces intense local pressure to secure the return of the hostages and to answer for the security lapses that allowed Hamas military operation into Israel on October 7th. Sayed Hassan Nasrallah said on Thursday that the genocide in Gaza should be a lesson for all the peoples of the world. During his speech on the occasion of the beginning of the month of Ramadan, amid the ongoing attacks perpetrated by Israel in the Gaza Strip, Nasrallah highlighted that during the 6 months of operations in the region, Israel has failed to achieve any of its declared goals. In this context, he affirmed that the call by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to invade Rafah means they have already lost the war. According to the Lebanese leader, another one of the signs of the defeat of Israel is the attempt to negotiate with the Palestinian movement Hamas. In this way, he also pointed out that the Israeli occupation army is tired and exhausted on all fronts and that the number of its dead is very large and much higher than announced.
Today, in the 6th month, Netanyahu stands up to say that if you don't go to Rafah, you will have lost the war. I tell him that even if you go to Rafah, you will have lost the war, because after 6 months of fighting, he could not provide a victory scenario and a victory picture of all the goals he announced. All the targets he announced did not achieve a single one.
We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back. On Thursday in Russia, residents of Mariupol go to the polling stations on the last day of early voting in the part of the Donetsk region. Precisely, Russian presidential elections are scheduled to be held from March 15th to 17th and will give the winner a 6-year term of office. It should be noted that the ballots include 4 candidates: Leonid Slutsky for the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, Nikolai Yarintonov for the Russian Communist Party, Vladislav Davenkov for the New People, and incumbent Vladimir Putin, who is running as an independent. In this regard, the current president welcomed the fact that the vote will be held in 4 newly annexed territories. Delegations from 36 countries and 5 regional bodies will attend the presidential elections in Russia as observers. It was disclosed on Thursday by the Vice President of the Senate, Konstantin Kosachev. The senator specified that 30 national parliaments will be present, as well as interparliamentary assemblies of international organizations such as the Commonwealth of Independent States. Also, the parliamentary assemblies of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the Organization for Islamic Cooperation, and the Central American Parliament will attend the elections. More than 200 parliamentary observers and dozens of electoral experts have received accreditation to date through the Federal Assembly, which is Russia's bicameral parliament, and that number could increase. In Russia, President Vladimir Putin called the citizens to participate in the presidential elections. The polls will begin this Friday, March 15th, and will be held during 3 days.
Tomorrow, March 15, polling stations will open throughout our vast country. A 3-day voting period for the election of the Russian president will begin. It is being held for the 8th time in Russia, which demonstrates the integrity of one of the basic principles of a democratic state, regular elections. If results will have a direct impact on the development of the country in the years to come.
The Russian leader called for national unity in the midst of the difficult challenges the country is going through.
I am confident that you understand the difficult period our country is going through, the difficult challenges we are facing in almost every area, and to continue to respond to them with dignity and to overcome the difficulties successfully, we must remain united and have confidence in ourselves.
Finally, President Putin stressed that participating in the elections is an act of patriotism.
I will say clearly, participation in today's elections is an expression of patriotic feeling. This is perfectly understood by the inhabitants on Donbass and Novorossiya, who, in the most difficult conditions, voted in a referendum for unity with Russia. And they will also make their choice these days. Our soldiers at the front will also vote. They defend the motherland with courage and heroes, and by taking part of the elections, they set an example for all of us.
On Thursday, China's foreign ministry criticized the passage of a U.S. bill that would ban the mobile phone app TikTok unless it cuts ties with its Chinese parent company. In this regard, Wang Wenbin, foreign minister spokesperson, assured that Beijing will maintain its protection of its overseas business interests.
The bill passed by the United States House of Representatives puts the United States on the opposite side of the principles of fair competition and international economic and trade rules. The so-called reasons of national security can be used to arbitrarily suppress excellent companies from other countries. Then there is no fairness and justice at all. When someone sees a good thing, another person has and tries to take it for themselves. This is entirely the logic of a bandit.
On the other hand, Chinese Foreign Ministry statement denounced that the so-called rules and order of the United States only benefit Washington's interests.
The United States handling on the TikTok incident would allow the world to see more clearly whether the United States' so-called rules and order are beneficial to the world, or whether they are only serve the United States itself.
2 foreign tourists, including an Australian woman, have been killed on the Indonesian resort island of Bali after heavy rain triggered a landslide that swept away their villa. The wooden villa on the popular tourist island was hit by the landslide on Thursday morning after a downpour in the area the previous night. Intense rain eroded water canals used for irrigation and triggered the landslide, killing the 2 persons. The female victim, 47, was born in Australia and had a United States permanent resident permit, while the male victim's nationality and identity remained unknown. Large areas of the Bali archipelagos of 17,000 islands are prone to flooding and landslide during the wet season, which starts around November. In Zimbabwe, national parks authorities are giving bicycles to children in order to shorten the amount of time exposition to wild animals on the kids' route to school. Dozens of school children in western Zimbabwe have been given bicycles thanks to a joint initiative between the Zimbabwean National Parks Authority, ZimParks, and the International Fund for Animal Welfare, which aims to reduce the time children are on foot during their journey to and from school, and so reduce the risk of them being attacked by wild animals such as elephants. Wild animals killed 50 people and injured 55 more in Zimbabwe last year, and elephants are among the most dangerous.
Elephants have killed people several times and destroyed the field. Even if you are herding cattle, if you meet the elephants, you will be attacked. Baboons are increasingly common in homesteads now because of the drought, and now they are snatching goats and chickens. All these are the animal problems we have in the area, but we try to live with them in harmony, and we are coexisting with them.
The Copacabana Palace, a century-old landmark hotel in Rio de Janeiro with an all-white facade, has been given a new face with colored windows covered in layers of vinyl in yellows, blues, pinks, greens and reds that now light up the building on the Brazilian beach. The in-situ work and creation by French artist Daniel Buren is on display through September. In his new intervention, the visual effect changes throughout the day depending on the exposure of the vinyls to light. In addition to the 100 windows of the iconic facade, Buren also intervened the pergola at the main entrance, which projects a chromatic carpet onto the ground. This work at the Copacabana Palace, which celebrated its 100th anniversary last year, is the second in a series of entitled Colorful Stops at the luxury hotel chain Belmont, owned by French giant LVMH. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.